I'm using is a Salar size 7 in silver. Thread, I'm going to be using a uni thread and a 8/0 in red, and simply start at the eye and put down a layer of thread. Now I'm going about halfway and remove the waste piece. Now for my tag, I'm going to use a small oval silver tinsel. I like to tie this on the way down, so that's my measure for the basically for the hackles and the wing at the top. I'm going to wind down until I'm in line with the points of the hook, and then winding down with the oval tinsel about 4 times, form the tag, and then bringing the oval tinsel between the hooks, tighten it up, catching it underneath. You can see just underneath there. And then I'm going to carry on all the way up the body length, just tying in the tinsel. Now the way back down, we tie in some silver wire, small silver or medium wire. Just going to show you, I'm just going to catch it underneath. And then come down about halfway, tie in a large holographic silver tinsel. Yeah. You could use the plain silver if you want, but the silver holographics obviously certainly the most popular. So wind your thread all the way down until we line with the tag, and then come back halfway and bring your tinsel up. Now there's your first full turn there, just to making sure that it's just right up against the tag, and then wind down. At this point here, cross your thread with 2 or 3 turns. Okay, I like to trim at the full length of the second part of the body. Now I'm going to bring the wire rib up at this point, up to this area here, where I'm going to tie in basically a middle hackle. So 9° bend into the wire to catch it in. Now it does pay to carry one up and tie these in, tidy things up a bit, and bend and break it off. Just lay it down, and work your way back down with the thread to tie in your hackle. Now we tie in basically this one here is slightly slin burst coloured yellow. Normal yellow is also very good. Quite large hackle, so you want a large one. It's a Chinese cock hackle that. You could use whatever you have, hen hackles as well. Now cut it in by the tip, folding it back so I can basically make it much stronger. What this does is tucks it back, means it's never going to pull out, it's got to break off. Then when you take away the point, just remove that, and then fold your fibres back and do 1 turn in front of the other. Round about 3 turns or so in there, come up against the thread, 90° bend, and make sure that's tied in. Now we trim this the full length of the second part of the body, which is there. Fold anything that wants to go forward, just fold it back, and then tie this down. Be quick look, see how it's sitting. And then I'm just going to carry on with the silver wire. You tie this in, I'll show you just slightly, just underneath. And then I'm going to catch in some black floss, in this case uni floss. Full length of the body again, or the second part anyway. And then wind up. Just watch your distance here, you make sure you give yourself plenty of room, because there is quite a bit of material to be tied in here. Yeah, that's around about 4mm or so. Just catch in your floss and then wind up your wire. So you could use oval tinsel if you want, up to yourself. And then make sure you secure in the wire nice and tight. Bend and break off. You've got wax on the thread. Now what I'm going to do here is I've got some dyed yellow and some hot orange bucktail. This is the first part of the wing. Just gonna mix this together like I would do a woolly gun. Do a nice piece here. Just simply line the ends up and roll them. Mix them up within your fingers. Just take your time and roll them. And you'll see them blending together. And then I just take the twists out, and then you could stack this if you want, but I'm just going to do it by eye. Bring the tips, line them up, or closely line them up anyway. You're looking, this is a flamethrower style fly, so I'm going to do twice the length of the hook and tie this in. Trim away. Bit of wax on your thread, make sure it's secure. Just going to lower the wing a wee bit, so I'm just going to press it on the top, just crease it so it's down here. And this will get it to sit the way you want. And then get some, this is Flashaboo Krystal here. Now it's like the mirror flash version. 3 strands, I'm just going to slightly stretch it, which takes out most of the kinks. You want this slightly longer than the bucktail. Tie them on the top, and then basically 3 or 4 turns down, and then fold it back. Keeping hold of these ends, and then you can trim away. You can moisten them and leave them for your next fly. And what we tie in here is your hot orange. You can see it's flame actually. It's the Chinese cock. And just going to take a feather. Basically I want to go towards halfway into the yellow, or close anyway. Let's see with the length, that's fine. Again I'm going to tie it in by the tip. 2 or 3 turns down, fold the tip back. I mean, you'll save bulk tying it in this way, so you take away the tip. More wax onto your thread. Makes it much easier to control the turns of hackle when it's onto a base of wax thread. And then you do, there's 1, 2, into my third turn, bring my thread up, 9th degree bend, and then secure it in with 3 or 4 turns, trim away the waste. See there's fibres going forward, just draw them back. And it does pay for you to go down, tidying things up and come back up. You don't want to have too many steps in, especially the head area, because if you do it, it tends to, nothing will sit right. So if you basically come in and put a nice layer of thread down, and wax thread, it makes a difference. Then we want the main wing itself. I'm going to use some Arctic Runner dyed black. This is quite long stuff, so just making sure I've got some under fur as well, and the guard here. If you can look through the patches of the Arctic Runner when you're buying it, it makes a big difference. Now there's only a wee bit, you can see there's quite a distance between the underfur. Now, normally you would use bucktail, dyed black bucktail instead of this, but I'm just going to, as I say, use the Arctic Runner. Just come in, pinch and loop it on the top. Trim away the excess. Wax onto your thread. Secure it in. Make sure I'm going to come up here and get as much in as possible. Tidying up again. More wax. See how things are. You could slightly blend it together just to have a good look at the fly you're making. A bit of moisture. Just a wee brush through it. That looks okay. Now this is where you could put the jungle cock on and then put the hackle on. There's another hackle in a kingfisher blue. It's up to yourself, but I'm going to put the hackle on first. So this is Chinese cock hackle again. Get a nice feather here. Just take your time and select the feather you want. Now you're looking probably 2 to 3 turns a hackle, and I'm going to tie this in again, much the same way I did the other two with the tip. 2 or 3 turns down, fold it back, keeping hold of the thread I can break the tip off, and then draw back the fibres. And then just do a turn in front of the other. See how much hackle you've got there, that's fine. Again, just bring it up against the hackle, 90-degree bend into the stem. See how things are sitting. At this point you can check, see how much hackle you have. Now, it's a bit sparse, so what I'm going to do is, if you're not happy and I'm not happy with that, I'm going to go back. Just allow the hackle to roll back. And then come back in. Just going to put an extra turn. Just the hackle fire, it's just creased a bit fine, but an extra turn will do it. Just take your time. And here's the extra half turn or so. Come up. 90-degree bend into it. Make sure it's secure. I get 3 or 4 turns. That looks okay. Yep. And then trim away. Wax onto your thread, draw anything going forward of the eye, draw it back and tidy up. It's a lovely blend of colour, so it just works really well. 2 jungle cock eyes. Just going to show you the underside of these hackles. All these eyes, I'm just drawing back the fibres I don't want. Sitting on the top. Come on, hold them on the sides. There's 4 turns there to hold them, just to see. Maybe another one there. Just then we check the length. Length looks okay. Then I'm going to fold these back. Take your time. You drip more wax. Tidy the head area up. Keep a hold of the thread and you can break these off. Quite strong then. And then I'm just going to check the eyes again. You can see how they're sitting. And then I'm just going to use a strand of the same flash that I put into the wing to do the head. Just pull it in. Again, put the wax on the thread. Get tidy up. You could tie off here and wind the flash over some super glue, but I prefer to actually make sure it ties in or it goes in well. This is super glue. Put it all the way around. Got to be quite quick with this because it's drying as quick as you're putting it on. Just wind your flash. Now you're not winding it tight, meaning it's just winding it on so it sticks. Just take your time at this point here. Just come across your thread. A couple of turns is all you need, just enough. Same when you go to tie off, a couple of turns is plenty. Because you're going to varnish this. A wee bit of excess super glue there, just going to clean it away. Trim your thread away. A wee bit of super glue there that's just come up onto the thread, so it's important that you do clean that, because if you put anything on it, it's going to build up. There it's there, you see. Just take your time, there we are. Now for speed, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some resin on this, UV resin, just to show you a finished head. And if you do use that, just then finish off with some varnish on top, and it should be fine. Just take my time that I'm not putting it on too much. I don't want it running into the feathers. It's the last thing in the world you want to do. You can have plenty of time with the resin because it's not setting until you actually put the torch on. If you put too much on, just wipe it off. And then come in and set the resin. And there we are.